Vocem iucunditatis annunciate, et audiatur. Alleluia. Nunciate usque ad extremum terrae. Liberavit Dominus populum suum. Jubilate Deo omnis terra. Salmum dicite nomini eius, date gloriam laudi eius. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Vocem iunde Cantati annunciate, et audiantur. Alleluia. Nunciate usque ad extremum terrae. Liberavit Dominus populum suum. Alleluia. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. Christe Christe eleison. Christe eleison.
Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Et in terra pax hominibus bone voluntatis laudamus te, benedicimus te, adoramus te, glorificamus te, gratias agibus tibi, propter magnam gloriam tuam. Domine Deus vex celestis, Deus Pater omnipotent, Domini Filii unigenite, Iesu Christe, Domine Deus, Agnus Dei, Filius Patris, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis, qui tollis peccata mundi, suscipere peccationem nostrum, qui seres ad exteram Patris, miserere nobis, boniam tu solus sanctus, tu solus Dominus, tu solus altissimus, Iesu Christe, Sancto Spiritu, in gloria Dei Patris. Amen.
Dominus vobiscum.
Et cum spiritu tuo.
Oremus. Deus, aqua bona conta procedunt lagere supplicibus tuis, ut cogitemus te inspirante quae recta sunt, et te gobernante eadem faciamus, Per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Lectio Epistolae Beati Jacobi Apostoli. Carissimi, estote factores verbi, et non additores tantum, valentes vos me tipsos, quia sequis auditores verbi et non factor, qui comparabitur vero consideranti vultum nativitatis suae in speculum. Consideravit enim se et habit, et stat mobilitus est qualis fuerit, qui autem perspexerit in legem perfectum libertatis, et permanserit in ea, non aditur obliviosus factus, sed factor operis, hic beatus in facto suo erit, siquis ad imputat se religiosum esse, non refrenant linguam suam, sed seducens cor suum, huius vana est religio. Religio munda et immaculata apud Deum et Patrem ec est, visitare pupillos et viduas in tribulatione eorum et immaculatum et se custodire ad hoc saeculo.
Alleluia. Urexi Christus et iluxit nobis. Exhibit et vado ad
Dominus vobiscum,
et cum spiritu tuo,
sequentia Sancti Evangelii secundum Ioannem.
gloria tibi, Domine.
In illo tempore, dixit Iesus discipulis suis, Amen, amen, digo vobis, sicuit petieritis Patrem in nomine meo, David vobis. Usque moru non petistis, quid quam in nomine meo, petite et cipietis, urgarium vestum sit plenum. Ec in proverbis locutus sum vobis. Venit ora, cum iam non in proverbis logor vobis, sed palam de Patre nunciamo vobis. In illo die in nomine meo petetis, et non dico vobis, qui ego rogavo Patrem de vobis, ipse enim pater amar vos, quia vos me amastis, et creditistis qui ego a Deo exivi. Exivi a Patrem, et veni in mundum, iterum in lingua mundum, et vado ad Patrem. Dicunt e discipuli eius, ecce nunc palam loqueris, et proverbium nullum dicis. Nunc scimus qui scis omnia, et non opus est tibi, ut quis te interulet. In hoc credimus quia Deo existi.
This Mass is offered for our parishioners, a Mass for the people. A couple announcements, and then a very short, simple insight into today's epistle to help us with understanding of religion and in the confrontation perhaps with how it might be posed or understood by others improperly. First media announcement is later this afternoon at St. Augustine Cathedral. For those who wish to join in person or through the live stream, we will have chanted Vespers at 4:15. Note the time a little earlier, as then it won't maybe conflict with dinner time, and then people can come and then do whatever else is going on if they wish, or tune in as they wish. So 4:15 Vespers at the Cathedral, followed by public exposition of the Blessed Sacrament and the monstrance. That'll take place until then. That'll be right after that. And then Rosary at 5 o'clock while the Blessed Sacrament is still exposed, and then conclude with benediction just before 5:30. So 4:15 to 5:30 is the total package of that time. Looking ahead a couple days, we are going to take up that opportunity to have Mass outdoors, and we're going to start with one, and then we'll go from there. On Thursday, for Ascension Thursday at 12:10 at St. Augustine Cathedral, our normal 12:10 Mass. So Mass that we normally have at 12:10 will be outdoors. It's a Novus Ordo Mass, a ordinary form liturgy. But we're going to try one and see how it goes. Well, the way it's going to work for all these Masses is that it'll be required to register ahead of time so that there's an accurate number of parking spaces outside, and preparing for whenever we move into the church for the capacity of whatever that might be at that time. And also some other things that go along with that. The volunteers in the parish are ready and willing to help, so we're going to start with that. And then see, I mentioned that at this Mass, because even though speaking about the Novus Ordo liturgy at the 12:10 on Thursday, depending on how it goes and the volunteers that we can pull together, and if we can do multiple times and set up a schedule, then there's the possibility down the line of an outdoor Mass in the different languages and forms that we have. So including a Latin Mass, perhaps. Again, we'll have to see about that, how things play out in the schedule. So those are the two announcements. I said it's going to be brief today, and I don't think anyone minds that necessarily, as just the brain can only handle so much these days and today is the third Mass. The first Mass was a sung English Mass, and then we had a sung Spanish Mass right before this, and now with the sung Latin Mass, you see a little kind of misfires going on. So we're going to keep this nice and simple. And we're going to keep it simple by looking at, for a moment, just how religion can be understood. We know erroneously can be understood as the point of religion is to make me feel good. I've talked about that. There are various other comments about that have been raised and how that's wrong. And it's not about that feeling or making me feel good. God exists to make me feel good. No, that's not the case. But another thing could be that focusing on one of the two commandments the Lord Jesus gives at the exclusion of the other, or conflating the two and seeing that that one is absolutely equal to the other. By that I mean, love God with all your mind, heart, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. And then as long as you're loving your neighbor, whoever that is, whatever that might look like, then you're loving God in the same way. And by that I mean even a non-Christian or a non-believer then could be thought to be carrying out the command of loving neighbor, is carrying out that love of God. That can extend into perhaps what we then see religion as being good to other people, and that's the extent of religion. And yet we do have this command to love neighbor as self. So how do we do that? How do we handle that? And with the epistle today from St. James, we're told what religion is. Religion is there going ahead, visiting the widows. Religion is keeping one unstained, uncontaminated, remaining pure in the world. And yet, as we know, the Mass and sacrifice and worship, this is what we probably default to thinking in our religion. And yet, James says this, and the thought that's out there. So how can we go ahead and do this? Well, we need not rely upon ourselves. We can look to the Master and look to St. Thomas Aquinas, who looked at this, took this up, and of course, in the wonderful way that he does, and those clarity of thought and distinctions, can say how it is the case that what James provides for us is still connected to religion. For in religion, there are acts themselves, proper acts, immediate acts that are directed immediately to God, such as sacrifice, worship, adoration. So we see that in the Mass, of giving that praise, worship, and adoration to Almighty God in the Holy Mass. Religion then connected that in that honor given to God. But what about these other things, such as the two examples that James provides to us in saying that this is what religion is? Again, visiting those who are on the fringe and needy, in this case the widows, or again remaining unpolluted, remaining uncontaminated in the world. Thomas says it's connected with regard to the virtues that are connected with these commands. And so that one grows in these virtues, that these virtues are going to lead one to God. And so in this way, it's this honor and connection to God, because recall, religion is connected with the virtue of justice. So we have this element of relationship there. And so in carrying out these various things and commands that are offered to us in the epistle today, then there is this connection to religion in which we grow in the virtues of, in this case, the virtue of mercy, and showing mercy toward that one who is needy, impoverished, the widow, and grow in the virtue of, for example, temperance, in not falling into an overindulgence of various things of worldly or secular goods and pleasures. And so that in seeking to grow in those virtues lead us to act a certain way. And then this is how it's going to lead us to give that particular honor to God, offering to God, as a virtues under another virtue. If you want to read more about it, go more in depth, you can see the section in the Summa on religion. So it would be the second part of the second part, the Secunda Secundae. In question 81, Article 1 specifically brings this up. And in the response to objection 1, Thomas goes through and presents the distinctions about understanding that. And I think that's enough for today. And let Thomas be the one to guide us, to help to understand that as we continue on, as I continue on here in person, and as you continue virtually, and hopefully soon in person, to carry on that immediate and proper act connected with religion most immediately when we think of it, of that worship and adoration given to Almighty God in this Mass.
Credo in unum Deum,
Patrem omnipotentem, factorem celi et terre, visibilium omnium, et invisibilium, et in unum Dominum, Iesum Christum, Filium Dei unigenitum, et ex Patre natum, ante omnia saecula, Deum de Deo, lumen de lumine, Deum verum de Deo veros, genitum non factum consubstantialem Patri, equem omnia facta sunt, qui propter mes homines et propter nostram salutem, descendi de celi, et incarnatus est de Spiritu Sancto, ex Maria Virgine, et homo factus est. Crucifixus etiam pro nobis sub Pontio Pilato, passus et sepultus est, et resurrexit tertia die, secundum Scriptura, et ascendit in celum, sedet ad dexteram Patris, et iterum venturus est cum gloria, judicare vivos et mortuos, huius regni non erit fini, et in Spiritum Sanctum Dominum, et vivificantem, qui ex Patre Filioque procedit, qui cum Patre et Filio simul adoratur, et con glorificatum, qui locutus es per profeta, et unam sanctam catholicam, et apostolicam ecclesia, confitea unum baptisma in remissionem peccatorum, et expecto resurrectionem mortuorum, et vitam venturi seculi. Amen.
Dominus vobiscum,
Et cum spiritu tuo,
oremus.
benedicite gente, Dominum Deum nostrum, et obadite vocem laudis eius, qui posuit animam meam habitat, et non dedit commoveri pedes meo. Benedictus Dominus, qui non amovit peccationes et misericordia suam. Amen. Alleluia.
Private classes. Et omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Dominus vobiscum.
Et cum spiritu tuo,
Sursum corda.
habemus ad Dominum.
Gratias agamus, Domino Deo nostro.
Ignum et justum est.
et inium et iostum est tecum et salutare, te quidem Domine omni tempore, sed in hoc potissimum gloriosius predicare, cum Pascha nostrum immolatus est Christus, ipse enim verus est agnus, qui obstulit peccata mundi, qui mortem nostra moriendo destruxit, et vitam resurgendo reparavit, et ideo cum angelis et archangelis, cum tronis et dominationibus, cumque omni malitia celestis exercitus, inum gloriae tuae conimus, sine fine dicentes.
Sanctus, Sanctus, Sanctus Dominus, Deus Sabaoth, Pleni sunt celi et terra, Gloria Tua.
nobis quoque pectoribus. Et omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Oremus, preceptis autoribus monati, et divina institutione formati, audemus dicere. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem,
Et libera nos a malo.
et omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Pax Domini sit semper vobiscum.
Et cum spiritu tuo. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata
Domine non sum
mundi,
dimus.
dona
Domine non sum dimus. Domine non sum dimus.
Cantate Domino, Alleluia. Cantate Domino, benedicite nomen eius. Bene nunciate de die in die salutare eius. Alleluia, Alleluia.
Dominus vobiscum,
Et cum spiritu tuo,
oremus. Tribu nobis Domini celestis mensa virtutes atiatis, et desiderare quae recta sunt, et desiderata percipere, per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, qui tecum vivere regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Dominus vobiscum,
Et cum spiritu tuo,
ite Missa
gratia.
Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus,
Pater, Filius et Spiritus Sanctus.
Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all evil spirits, who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls.
Regina Celi, lectare, alleluia. Quia quem meruisti portare, alleluia. Resurrexit, sicut dixit, alleluia. Ora pro nobis Deum, alleluia.